All right, today we're zeroing in on just one exercise. Sounds kind of funny, right? It's called the monster walk. But it brings up a really important question. Could this one simple movement be a huge help for stability if you're living with multiple sclerosis? And that question, it really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? I mean, if you're managing a chronic condition, the thought of a simple, low-impact tool that could actually be a game changer for your mobility, well, that's something you gotta look into. So let's do just that. Let's dig into the logic behind this monster walk. Okay, so first things first, we gotta understand the problem we're trying to solve. Let's talk about MS and the very real challenges it poses to mobility. For so many people with MS, it's not just one thing. It's kind of this trio of challenges that you face every day. You've got muscle weakness, especially in the hips and legs, and that can really mess with your balance. It makes just walking across a room feel, well, uncertain. And this goes way beyond just exercise, right? It hits your confidence with every single step. So, what can we do about that? Is there a tool that can help? Well, this is where the Monster Walk comes into the picture. Yeah, I know, the name is a little goofy, but don't let that fool you for a second. The Monster Walk is a seriously effective exercise. All it is, really, is a simple side-to-side step. But here's the magic trick. You're doing it with a resistance band, and it's that constant focused tension that makes all the difference. So, what's the secret sauce here? Why does this work so well? It's all about what it targets. The Monster Walk hones in on your glutes and your hip abductors. Those are the muscles on the outside of your thighs. You can almost think of them as the guide ropes for your pelvis. When those muscles are strong, they keep your pelvis stable and level when you walk. And that stable base is everything when it comes to having a steady, confident gait. All right, so the logic feels sound, but what about the research? Let's take a look and see how we can bridge that gap. Okay, and this is where we need to be really upfront. Full transparency here. As of right now, there aren't any huge studies looking at the Monster Walk specifically for MS. But, and this is a big but, that's not the end of the story. Not at all. Because what we do have is incredibly strong clinical logic. The why it should work just makes so much sense, even while we wait for the formal research to catch up. And look, we're not starting from scratch here. We have a ton of research on resistance band training for MS in general, and that evidence is solid. It shows that people can see significant strength gains in as little as 8 weeks with the right program. So we have this really solid foundation to build on. And this is that logical bridge I was talking about, laid out plain and simple. You see the problem on one side, weak hip muscles, which cause an unstable pelvis and issues with your gait. And on the other side, you see the solution, the Monster Walk, which directly goes after those exact muscles. It's a beautiful, direct line. Strengthen the cause of the problem, and you improve the outcome. Simple as that. All right, so we've covered the why. Now let's get practical. Let's talk about the how. Okay, let's break down the classic version. First, you're going to put a resistance band around your ankles, or maybe a little higher up on your shins. Then, you bend your knees just a little bit, like a mini squat. This is key because it gets your glutes fired up. From there, you just take a slow step out to the side. The whole time, you're focused on keeping that band tight. Then, you bring your other foot in, but not all the way. You never want the band to go slack. Remember, the goal here is slow and controlled. It's not a race. It's all about keeping that tension on the muscles. Now, this is probably the most important part. This exercise is totally adaptable. If standing and doing it feels like too much right now, no problem. You can do a version sitting right in a chair, just opening and closing your knees against the band. Or you can stand and lean on a wall for that extra bit of support. The whole point is to find the variation that feels right for you, one that's safe but still challenges you. Okay, last section. And honestly, this is the most critical piece of the whole conversation: safety and getting the right guidance. So listen, if you take away only one thing today, let it be this. Before you try any new exercise, you absolutely have to talk to your physical therapist and your neurologist. They are your team. They're your partners on this journey. A good PT is invaluable. They can assess exactly what you need, make sure your form is perfect so you don't get hurt, and build a program that is 100% tailored to you. They're like your personal coach and strategist, all rolled into one. And when you're exercising with MS, managing the symptoms is just as crucial as the movement itself. It's about working smart, so simple things can make a world of difference. Try to exercise where it's cool. Break it up into shorter sessions with rest in between to manage fatigue. Drink plenty of water, and the biggest one of all, you have to listen to your body. Don't push through pain or exhaustion. These aren't just little suggestions, they're the bedrock of training safely and effectively. So, we're back where we started. Is the Monster Walk some kind of magic cure? Of course not. Nothing is. But what it is a smart, logical, science-backed tool that fits hand in glove with what we already know about MS rehab. So the real question, the one that matters, is for you and your healthcare team to answer together. Could this simple tool be a logical next step for you on your path to better stability? That's something definitely worth exploring.